Division title and the NFC 1 seed at stake. For the Seahawks, it's simple. You don't lose, you're the number one. If you do, it's a rematch against the Bucs or Panthers in the wild card. For the Niners, they could fall as low as the 6th seed if they lose, and if, as mentioned, the Rams beat the Cardinals. Mina, if San Francisco does win, they won't play another game outside of Santa Clara. That includes Super Bowl 60 if it comes to it. Marcus, will go to you with this question. High stakes clearly here for the Niners. What's the key for this offense in this game?
Yeah, to make sure you keep Brock Purdy clean. I think Seattle and Mike McDonald, one of the best defensive coordinators, head coaches in this league. He now has seen 2 weeks in a row where Brock Purdy has been devastating people with extending plays and using his legs to continue this offense going forward. And the Seattle Seahawks have the team speed. They got the guys up front that can win one-on-ones. And I'm very interested defensively in what's the plan. Are you going to do a 4-man rush and try to bottle him up and keep him in the pocket? Although Brock Purdy has been phenomenal at his anticipation and ball placement, we've seen him at times have some turnovers issues. He had a pick 6 in the game against Chicago. This is about the front, though, for Seattle. This is about making sure you don't allow Brock Purdy to devastate you by extending plays so you can play straight-up football as a defense. He is right now unconscious in extending plays and making the right throws and right decisions and even making defenders miss in space. So Seattle, from a defensive standpoint, they're going to have to be very disciplined, and that 4-man rush is going to have to be the catalyst for what they do from a defensive standpoint.
This game will come down to space. Okay, so at the starting point, the fundamental foundational piece about Kyle Shanahan's 49ers offense, create space. Different ways to create space and then take advantage of that space. Have different people that can take advantage of the space created, whether by formation, whether by action, whether by movement with certain players. The counter to that is Seattle defensively is the best defense in the league at 2 things: taking away space, tackling in space. That's going to be this matchup. Who wins that? I think Philadelphia and Seattle are the 2 defenses that consistently tackle at a greater level in space one-on-one than everybody else. If San Francisco wins the space matchup consistently, they'll win the game. If Seattle wins kind of taking that space away and tackling in space, they're going to win the game.
I think tackling is massive in this one for Seattle, not just because of the nature of the Niners offense, but also because of the potential absence of Trent Williams. That is a massive injury, guys. He's got the hamstring, and he might not play on Saturday. In week 1, when these teams played and they had Trent Williams, Seattle's 4-man rush had a 52% pressure rate. One thing Mike McDonald is so good at, and I feel like we don't talk about this enough, if you have a weakness on your offensive line, he will identify it and he will get the matchups for his pass rushers without, by the way, blitzing. He's so good at using simulated pressures, overloads, stunts, and the likes. And if San Francisco doesn't have Trent Williams, you're looking at their guard, Burford, kicking outside. He is going to draw a giant circle over those positions, and he is going to attack them. So I think that ball is going to come out really fast. And to go back to Dan's point, I think whether or not Seattle can keep the screens, the quick hitting play action from turning into chunk gains is going to go a long way towards determining whether or not they win.
Steelers and Ravens teaching us a whole lot can change in a weekend. Pittsburgh's playoff chances dropped by 50% since that loss in Cleveland. That opened the door for the Ravens, whose playoff chances went up 50%. These teams meet again Sunday, game 272 of 272. Winner to the playoffs. For the loser, it's Cancun on 3. Mike Tomlin spoke on the matchup today.
There's just real intimacy in these divisional matchups. And so, man, we're working with an edge. This is chess, not checkers, as you strategize and at the early portions of the week. Not only forecasting who's available to us potentially, but also who's available or unavailable for them.
Dan Orlovsky, Marcus Spears, Mina Kimes back with us. Dan, this Steelers offense, down pass catchers, to be fair, struggled last week in Cleveland, but they're again short of a full deck here. What is the key for that side of the ball in this de facto playoff game?
If anybody's listened to me at all this year, this answer is going to be very obvious. 6 offensive linemen. Spencer Anderson's got to be a big part. And this offense is about efficiency. It's the only thing that they have done well this year. And I understand that Washington not being there will have some type of ripple effect. But this 6 offensive line group has been the best thing that they have done from a run game perspective all year. They can run the full package of offense. They could toss it. They could hand it off. They could go weak. They can go strong. I think if I was Pittsburgh and Arthur Smith, their play caller, I would put those 6 big guys on the field, turn this into a nasty, ugly football game. I would get a player like Gainwell. I'd get a player like Johnny Smith out on the perimeter and allow their speed to impact the football game. That 6 offensive run game is going to have to be the reason that they have early down success.
Dio, I completely agree with you as far as bringing in extra bodies. I'm just wondering if the Pittsburgh Steelers can hit 2 or 3 explosives at some point in this game, because it's going to be needed. Like, once this box is stacked up by the Baltimore Ravens, can they find someone to make a play downfield without it being in a situation that's dire, right? To continue a drive or make a big third down play. And Aaron was getting the ball out of his hands so fast against Cleveland that you would think at times Baltimore is going to try to sit on some of those routes. It's just going to be interesting to me. And we all know, we've talked about this all season long, with the absence, obviously, of DK Metcalf as well. We saw that kind of take heed in the Cleveland Browns game. And if I'm Baltimore, I'm going to make sure that this becomes, can the Pittsburgh Steelers throw the ball over the top and make enough plays to beat us? Because I'm with you, Dio. I would do the exact same thing offensively. But if I'm Baltimore, I am not allowing them to run the football on me.
Scotty Miller, man.
What you said?
Listen,
Scotty Miller.
The last time these teams played, and it wasn't that long ago, the Steelers arguably won because of DK Metcalf. All 3 of Aaron's deep passes were to Metcalf. The Ravens played a lot of man coverage in that one. They beat them with DK Metcalf. They're probably going to play even more man coverage. I would, after watching Cleveland against this team. So the question is, who else steps up? I do agree with Dan that they're going to put an extra lineman on the field. I also think Baltimore is going to do what they did last time and stack the box, to Marcus's point. At some point, there will be an opportunity. You don't even need DK Metcalf. You don't even, if they approach this, if Baltimore approaches this the way we think they will, you don't need someone to win 20 yards downfield contested catch. There's going to be an opportunity for somebody to get wide open because they're going to be so zero in on stopping the run. I'll throw out Pat Freiermuth. I do not understand why he has not been a bigger part of this offense all year long. This is his opportunity. We saw when Aaron went hurry up, how suddenly, over the middle of the field, there's Freiermuth. He's arguably your best weapon now. But yeah, it's going to have to be someone through the air, because even if they do go with a run-focused game plan, they can't beat them that way.
Yeah, we saw in the last set of downs in Cleveland, it was Marcus Valdez-Scantling. 2nd, 3rd, 4th down, Rodgers targeted him, not with deep balls, but jump balls in goal-to-go situations. Dan, the story for Baltimore, the status of Lamar Jackson, how much does his availability with that back injury change things with the Ravens' game plan?
Yeah. Listen, he's Lamar Jackson, and I saw Marcus's comments on Countdown last night, and I echo them. He's Lamar Jackson. He's one of the greatest players we've had in our generation over the last at least a decade. But I do think the Ravens can win this game without him. I do think that the Ravens could sit there and say, Pittsburgh's going to be playing without DK Metcalf and Darnell Washington and maybe TJ Watt. Here comes Derrick Henry 35 times. Put big Patrick Ricard on the field, number 42. Put your tight ends on the field and say, here it comes, Pittsburgh. You want inside zone? Here comes inside zone. You want outside zone? Here it comes. You want lead with our fullback? Great, here it comes. You want toss sweep when we crack down the outside and get on the perimeter? Love it. And so this is said with all due respect and admiration to Lamar Jackson. He's unbelievable. They don't need Lamar to win this football game, because if they give it to Derrick 35 times, they should win. And honestly, if they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
The NFC South, for the Panthers, only one of these things has to happen. They can win or tie. Or the Falcons win Saturday. For the Bucs, they are not in control of their own destiny. They need 2 things. They got to win and get the Falcons to lose or tie to the Saints. New Orleans has won 4 in a row. You might be wondering how the Bucs got here after starting 6-2. It's a good question, NFL Live viewer. Tampa's 1-7 since its bye, including an active 4-game losing streak, which started to an upset home loss to New Orleans. Close losses continued days later against the Falcons, who came back from 14 down in the fourth to beat the Bucs by 1. Zane Gonzalez in Tampa again hit the game-winning field goal. Then Week 16, the first matchup against Carolina, Tampa led after halftime on the road, but a late pick by Baker Mayfield ended the potential game-winning drive. Then another close call Sunday in Miami. Tampa trailed by 10 in the fourth quarter, but failed to recover an onside kick to keep the game alive. The Bucs lose to the eliminated Finns by 3. For the love of Bucko Bruce, can we win a close game? These have been a problem in Todd Bowles' tenure. In one-score games, those decided by 8 points or fewer, that's a bad omen. Tampa has allowed 666 more yards than their opponents. They have a sub-500 record. Here's Baker Mayfield and Bowles today on their mindset heading into Saturday's finale.
You have to have a short memory, and I do. I know what the priority is, and that's winning Saturday. To be able to completely forget what's gone on, no, it's being the competitor I am, I'm frustrated with where we're at, but I'm able to, compartmentalize and be able to focus on Saturday.
We've made this bed. We understand that. We can't do anything on Sunday unless we win on Saturday.
Mina, Marcus, and Dan back with us. Dan, I thought buys were supposed to help. Tampa's 1-7 since theirs, and the only wins over Arizona, who hasn't won since week 2. What's behind the Bucs' offensive struggles in the second half of the season?
Yeah, stop treating Baker Mayfield like he's Josh Allen. I think there's so much on Baker Mayfield's plate, and they ask him to do so much. And I know that they have dealt with offensive line injuries, and Bucky Irving has missed time and all that, but they don't run the football at all. And then what happens is Baker's an aggressive player. He's a gunslinger. And so you get into these second halves, and all of a sudden he's trying to force every single throw, make every big player have that hero ball moment. Now, I'm not absolving Baker of it. There's no question about it. But to your point, Phil, with your arena before, these close games, these back-breaking just interceptions in the second half of football games are killing this football team right now. And obviously it's one game left, win or go home type of thing. And I think it's going to be a fourth quarter football game, but they're going to have to find just a little bit of like help or balance, or Baker don't win the football game for us right now to realistically think that they can play their best football late.
If Baker Mayfield tries to force the ball downfield against Carolina the way he did against Miami, they're going to pick him. The Carolina pass defense is flawed, but they got two cornerbacks who are ball hawks. J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson, who's been quietly having a really good season for them and picked Sam Darnold last week. The other thing I would say about this Carolina defense, there's a major split in how good they are against deep passes versus short ones. They are 6th league-wide in E-Pay per play against deep passes, 30th against short ones. There is no need to play hero ball here. Baker Mayfield doesn't need to be a gunslinger in this game. He needs to be a distributor and let his playmakers go to work. Let them win the game for him.
Yeah, for the sake of not beating the dead horse, D.O. and MK, you know where I was going, Dan. Bucky Irving had 9 carries last week, and Baker Mayfield
17 yards.
had 3. There was a total of 15. There was a total of 15 rushes from their backs in the game. That's not the recipe for success. This team also early in the beginning of the year, I thought this would be one of the strong suits. As much as we talked about Egbuka and how phenomenal he was playing for a rookie, this team was able to line up and churn yards. And to your point, offensive line issues, Bucky Irving missed time, you had White. But at the end of the day, D.O., you've heard me say this about Josh Allen, just like I will say about Baker Mayfield, and it was Baker Mayfield issue in Cleveland. When they get around that 40 mark or that high 30s in dropbacks and attempts, I get nervous because these guys are uber aggressive. They realize how much their team needs to make a play, and they are going to take those chances in those moments in order to try to win football games. It's how they're wired. And sometimes it works out and we applaud them and we talk about how phenomenal they are. But we also have to remember that this league is full of grown men on defense that have playmakers as well. And when it's not going your way and not working out right, the games happen like this. This team is 1-7 after their bye week.
Yeah.
And you can, for each game, you can find those 2 or 3 moments when it's do or die feels like, and it doesn't go their way. And that's what this team is living by. And you cannot, in the run game or some sort of easy out is what remedies that for an offense.